problem.
But Omosh,
yes, sir.
we should also castigate, because sometimes some people have gone to protest, but then the police decide to come in guns blazing.
And you're right.
And we have to call them out.
I think they've always called that out. So we know that we always have to call them out. But the problem again is that easy instructions are kutoka mkubwa, whatever they're getting from upstairs.
Yeah.
All those instructions that come down.
These are not rogue police officers.
It is the same.
They get instructions. As we wrap up, we want to know the media. Where does the media come in all this? You know, and maybe in your views and in your opinions, what kind of role have they played in all these shenanigans that has been happening? What are your general feelings towards the media? Have they impacted discourse positively, or are they fueling the fire?
Omosh, wanna go or
I can try. I think it depends on which side of the aisle you're sitting on. You know, and traditionally the media in Kenya has been that they are either pro-government or anti-government. At least that's the narrative that has been spun to us. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you see it in the way the stories are written, the way things are presented. Now, with that said, in this particular case with the protests, I would generally say the media have not been biased.
Okay.
From what I can see. Mm-hmm. They have just been reporting.
They're presenting what's there.
Yes, they have been presenting. There are some media houses that are known to always, you know,
skew one side or another.
Skew one side versus the other, you know. But in general, us looking on as what we're diaspora due to Koenje, us we are just consuming the news. We get the news. We look at the headlines or whatever it is and the stories, and we consume. And they are in general reporting to us in general. And I think I'd probably give it I'd say even up to 90%. They're reporting. Then that 10% are those people who they're always gonna give you one side.
A spin.
You know, they're always gonna be on one side because there's other factors behind it, and we all know there's always other factors behind it.
Okay.
That's my take on it. But then now the media needs to maintain that role of giving us the information. We dissect the information, absorb, and then that's how we'll come to our conclusion based upon the information that's being presented to us. That's their role. They're not supposed to twist it one way versus the other.
They're not Fox News. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think the biggest credit I'm going to give the media this time round is that they brought this conversation on the finance bill when it was still a bill to the forefront. Mm-hmm. You know, like for the first time, people actually got to know that there's some people were thinking this is the first time, because some people were asking, mbona mnaleta hii kitu? People don't know that this is something that happens every year.
Yes,
it happens every year.
But
it was brought to the forefront by most media houses. It was broken down. It was simplified. It was packaged in a way that the mwananchi would understand it. Mtu wa bodaboda, mamboga, Wanjiko ataelewa how exactly this is going to affect me. And I think this understanding, this was the first widespread understanding of this. This is what really made people more plugged into it. There was the issue of the housing levy. There was the issue of, there was a lot of small taxes. There was the issue of value-added tax being doubled, from 8% content creators.
Yes,
so I think people got a very close understanding to exactly what was happening, and they had the numbers. I earn 33,000 with this new finance bill. This 33,000 net is gonna reduce to 27,000.
Yes,
whatever number.
Correct.
So I think people had that understanding, and there was constant engagement, and I think that's why when people are going out, it's not Raila alisema or it's not Babu Owino alisema. It's this is what the Finance Act did to us. and this is why we're out here in the streets. Uno Mike.
Let me in addition to that, you know, and I've become Mfuasi Mukuba, and this is not plugging in, but I've become a very big fan of the Spice FM with Eric Latif.
Yes,
Man,
very
guys.
good. Those guys are very good.
And them having everyone from across the divide, it doesn't matter who it was.
They don't discriminate.
But what they mostly focus on is the content.
Yes.
They focus on facts.
Yes.
The issues,
You know,
yeah.
the issues.
Yeah.
Forget what part.
No
You know,
spin, no
No,
bull.
they had
Yeah.
the control of budget. You know, they've had Jimmy Wanjigi. Here's a funny thing. Jimmy Wanjigi over there, I mean, the way he's talking, you'd think he's an economist / financial guy, but his
Aye.
understanding of the processes,
Yes, and
understanding
public
the
finance.
budget and public finance.
But that's how he has been eating for
Yes.
all these years.
So that's fine. You know, hearsay here. But we're talking about let's focus on what Jimmy Wanjigi has presented. And it is where you actually sit down, he takes you step by step through the process. The process that is actually supposed to be followed constitutionally. From appropriations bill, sijui what bill, before it becomes this, you have to present domestic budget, sijui what. It's giving an insight on what and the role of parliament,
Yes.
and what parliament does.
And
In
don't
addition
forget,
to
don't forget what he said about what he revealed about what's called odious debt.
odious debt.
Yeah, which is debt that is in your name, but si wewe ndo ulikopa pesa. Tuseme
Yes.
credit card yako, you spent $3,000, but then statement unatumiwa inasema $5,000. Where did this $2,000 come from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that I can say, and actually even when you listen, or even to Akina, what is this gentleman? He's on Citizen also. I think he had Sifuna on and some other guys from
Trevor?
Trevor Mbija.
Trevor
You know, like
Mbija,
when he has guys even from across, you know, both people discussing issues and matters. And I think, hopefully, you know, like Kenyans, I think maybe the diaspora, maybe you're going to talk about it, but in the diaspora are actually learning more and more. Now, see hearsay.
Yeah.
And then guys are going and looking at, okay, let's
Yeah.
look at this finance. Okay, this guy said this, he said
Hakuna
this.
mambo ni maoni ya fulani.
Hakuna.
Yeah.
Because this is just the meat and potatoes. And I think they've done a good job in supporting in what Omosh has done in educating the Wananchi, which is very important.
Yes, I mean the media has not been perfect. They've been far from perfect, you know. But I think after this election, when there was open antagonism from the government, I think they restored back to where they used to be. Because I think within the last government, they were too much in bed with the government. But now you can see there's that separation that we are seeing from the media and from the government. And then Pablo is saying, I think the media in Kenya don't bring out all issues. Here's why. If you go to the social media pages of some journalists, they present a different perspective from which they report from the newsrooms. Having said that, I think it would be beneficial for one to listen to news from different media sources and compare so as to arrive to an informed decision. I think that's fair enough. And then there was a comment here that I missed from Afro-Jamaican. He says, I gave my daughter an iPhone. She was 12. She misused it, and now she has a flip phone.
Kabambe.
All right.
Which flip? The new Razor.
Oh, by the way, yes, you have to be specific.
The new Razor is very smart.
Is it a smart?
So I don't know. I don't know which flip he's talking about.
Oh, by the way,
Okay.
you're
But
right.
that phone is very
Afro-Jamaican,
smart.
Afro-Jamaican tell us. And then he further says, as a non-Kenyan, I see things differently. I am all for protests, but the vandalism is a no-no.
I'm with him. The vandalism is a no.
We had 3-week
100%.
protests here in Canada. They locked down the capital. Now the government is going after anyone who donated money to the protester. And then he says, I just wish they can protest without killing or vandalism. That's
I'm
very
with
true.
him. If we can get to that point, and you know, as long as these people, or as long as they're bad players, and there's always bad players, that's the problem.
But Omosh,
Yes, sir.
we should also castigate, because sometimes some people have gone to protest, but then the police decide to come in guns blazing.
And you're right.
And we have to call them out,
I think
because
they've always called that out. So we know that we always have to call them out. But the problem again is that easy instructions are kutoka mkubwa, whatever they're getting from upstairs.
Yeah.
All those instructions that come down.
These
it's
are not
the
rogue
same-
police
It
officers.
is the same.
They get
script.
instructions.
Same script. Let's go back to University of Nairobi rioting. it's the same exact script. If a cop then
Fanya
and
fujo uone.
a cop then and a cop now, the result is the same. And the difference now, these guys have water guns, the water, what are they called? Water cannons,
Yeah.
right? Which were purchased at, anyway. They have water cannons. They have all these anti riot quelling type of things, you know. And but then back to it is this: the cops abuse.
Okay.
And they use those rungus. Imagine umpige na ile rungu.
I know.
Fanya fujo
Once,
uone.
imagine na jamaa amepigwa na hiyo kitu mara 30.
I know. You know, like if you get caught in a bad corner, ndo hivyo. And then back in the days at Nairobi University, if the cops find you in a bad corner, uko pabaya. But pia huyo karao akishikwa, aingizwe hall 10. That's the end of him.
It's a rap.
That's the end of
It's
him.
a rap. And
That's
they
the
knew.
end of his story.
And they knew. That's
Yeah.
why they had to, when they were doing those things, they had to do them a certain way.
Yes, there was a method to the madness.
I was listening to Boniface being interviewed
Boniface
on Spice
Mwangi
FM,
on Spice, yeah.
And he said how I think the it's like the cops themselves when they go for training, like they're really broken down to the individual. Ile chini kabisa, then they're built up just to be rogue.
Yes. They
Mwananchi is the enemy, Mwananchi is the enemy.
Reprogrammed.
They're
They are
reprogrammed.
reprogrammed. They are reprogrammed to look at you, Mwananchi,
As an enemy. As an enemy.
as a
Yes.
lawbreaker.
Yeah. And he said, here's the interesting thing. When you're pro-government, uko sawa. You uko fiti. If you're anti-government,
You're the enemy.
You are the enemy.
utajua ujui.
Yes.
Yes.